What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Matt's back on the podcast. We were going to have a rundown for Game 4, but we had some technical difficulties with that, so that didn't end up working. But we're back for Game 5. We finally got it figured out, and there was a lot to talk about for Game 5. Game 5 was an interesting game. Sixers were dominating almost the whole game. They never really let up the lead, and they were in control of the ball on offense. You really never thought the Sixers were gonna choke that lead like they did in Game 4. So Matt, let us know your thoughts on Game 5.
Chris, happy to be here. Happy we got got all the technical issues worked out. And it's funny you say that because I thought the exact same thing. Usually when the Sixers are playing and like let's say they're up by 10 points, like I'm just waiting for them to blow it and lose the lead, and we're gonna be in for a tight game. I didn't get that feeling at all yesterday. I basically from the opening tip, I'm like, this team is locked in. They're dominating the Celtics. They're playing the whole game on the Sixers' terms, and the Celtics have no answers for them. And I really started to feel that in the second quarter when Embiid went to the bench for his normal rest, and Harden just led with the bench unit and got off to like a 7-0 run. And after that, the Celtics called a timeout, and then Celtics started doing their like a really gimmicky defense with playing super full court press, going extremely try hard for the next like rest of the quarter. And I'm like even if this works for a little bit, the Celtics are going to be exhausted by the end of the game. And like you could tell that it started to affect the Celtics shots. Like they couldn't get any threes to fall because their legs were exhausted, and the Sixers just they didn't care. Like they just give it to Maxey. Maxey gets it over half court, and then they run whatever offense they want to do. And I got to start with Embiid. Absolutely dominant. He controlled the game on both ends of the court, especially the defensive end. I mean, the Celtics they couldn't make a layup. They couldn't make any shots in the paint. He just completely dominated that game. He turned him into a complete jump shooting team. And then when Al Horford missed his first 7 threes, Embiid's just like, I'm not even going to worry about you. I'm just going to stay in the paint and just block anything that comes my way. And it was awesome to see. I've never seen the Sixers play that good. I'm still excited about it today, and like I just feel like they're gonna close this out tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, you guys didn't see it, but we said it in the what was supposed to be the Game 4 run. Now we said Maxey and MB were going to be the two guys to step up big in this Game 5 against Boston because they love feeding into the away crowd and they like dominating their opponents on the road, and that's exactly what happened. Embiid went off and Maxey went off. We didn't see a Maxey game yet this series. Like we saw with a Harden game and an Embiid game, we have not seen that Maxey game. We finally saw it in Game 5. And it was just a highlight to see. Maxey was running the offense along with Harden, and it was just looking really good. The ball movement by the Sixers yesterday was just, it looked flawless. It was so clean. They weren't taking bad shots like they previously were in the series, and they were just setting up guys in good positions. They were spreading the ball around too. Like, no, they didn't go heavy on Harden. They didn't go heavy on Embiid. They spread it around. Tucker was getting some shots. Tobias Harris was getting some shots in there. But I really like this offense ran by Tyrese Maxey and James Harden. I feel like yesterday is what really showed how smoothly it can go when they're both on the same page and they're all working on the same level. But going on to Joel Embiid as well, he has just been dominant all series. And you could see it today or yesterday. He basically dominated Al Horford on both ends of the court. Al Horford was kind of stopping him in Game 4 at the end because Joel Embiid was tired, and we talked about how Joel Embiid's going to need to pace himself for this Game 5, and I think he paced himself perfectly. Shout out to Doc Rivers for actually managing the Sixers' depth well yesterday. He actually managed a really good game, which you don't see a lot of that with Doc Rivers, but I give him credit for how he was able to manage the team, because Embiid did not look sluggish at all in that game, and that's why we were able to close it out by a pretty hefty margin. It was 13 points, something like that. It was a great game all around, and so let me know your thoughts on how Doc Rivers has been managing this team, because it's been good lately.
Yeah, a lot of really good points there, Chris. I think I mean I'll touch on everything you said, but starting with Doc, I was blown away by how good he was yesterday. And like the thing that always bothers me about the NBA is like So the Sixers won game four. So the normal thing that NBA coaches do, and usually Doc will do the same thing, is like, oh, we won. I'll just do the same exact thing we did in the game we won and just hope it works again. And he didn't do that. Like he anticipated Boston's adjustments and he went with Dan House, which like that guy came off the bench covered in cobwebs. Like I was like, he's putting Dan House in.
Yeah,
Like
I was.
I was
Yep.
like, this might not be good, and he proved me wrong. He was
Played well.
dominant, and
Yeah.
like, and the thing that like I think the reason Doc went with him is because of Malcolm Brogdon. Like we had nobody that could stop Brogdon off the bench, and Dan House like completely shut him down. And it's just another athletic wing that can stay in front of these Boston guards, and he was awesome. Like he only played 10, 11 minutes, I think, but those minutes were great. And you saw he was a teammate of Harden's in Houston. So I think that you kind of saw how well like he integrated right into the offense there. A couple of things that really stood out was him on transition. Like as soon as we got a rebound, Harden would get the ball to him, and he was fearless. I mean, he just barreled straight to the net and got layups like it was nothing. And then the biggest play of the game, the fourth quarter, Celtics were starting to make a little bit of a push. I think they got it to like 12 or something, and you could finally hear the crowd start to get a little bit into it. And I think it was Harden kind of takes the ball on the left side, starts dribbling up, and he gets doubled. And House instinctively cuts to the middle of the floor, finds some space. Harden gets him the ball. He drives a little bit, and Maxey's defender on the wing collapses on him. House passes right out to Maxey. Maxey drills the three, shushes the crowd, and from that point on, the game was over. And like for Doc to pull that card, I mean, kudos to him. Like I'm not a Doc fan, but he's kind of proven me wrong this series.
Yeah, Daniel House was really good yesterday. He was kind of. I didn't expect him to get in the series at all because you're versing a team like the Celtics. You need to put your best guys on the court. And when you look at the Sixers roster, Daniel House is not a guy you think of being one of your top maybe 7, 8 guy. Like he's not up there even to be in the rotation. But he really played well yesterday when we needed big defense. We held the Celtics to only 102 points. That's good for a team like the Celtics with all the offense they have.
And they
And
scored like 12 points in garbage time too.
yeah,
Like that was
and
that
so
was like a 20-point win,
yeah,
and they
so
came back a little bit at
So
the end,
and
but it was
Daniel House is a
pointless.
big reason we were able to hold him to that many points because even the announcers were saying how good Daniel. I remember I think it was in the second quarter he was locking up it was the second quarter he was locking up Malcolm Brogdon was it was the announcer was surprised. He was like, Daniel House is he's getting his work out there. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
he was doing great. I was surprised with
Yep.
how well Daniel House played, and even on the offensive end, like we saw how good he is on the defensive end. On the offensive end, he didn't make any questionable moves. That was like, oh, you got to get him out of here. He was the role player we needed, and he got the job done. So,
Yeah.
big shout out to Daniel House, and another big shout out to Doc Rivers for actually managing this team well for once, because we know he's made questionable moves the past couple of years that's cost the Sixers big time, but not right now. I think he's finally learning from his mistakes, and hopefully he can carry that out the rest of the series. But
Yeah.
moving on, I guess what's next to talk about for the like?
Let's touch on Maxi a little bit because I don't want to overlook that. And
Yeah, Maxey was incredible.
a couple, yeah, he was really awesome. And like the thing that stood out to me and is against this Boston team, like he's still gonna struggle to kind of drive to the net and make his layups. Like it's just they just have so much length they can really stop him. But he's such a good 3-point shooter. Like he can hit step backs, he can hit 3-pointers on the move, and like when he's out on the wing, like he just spaces the court so well for everybody. And he got up 12 3-pointers yesterday, made 6 of them, and like that was the key to getting him engaged in the series is have him hunt his 3-point shot. Like have him just try to get up between 10 to 15 3-pointers, and like he's probably going to make like 40% of them. And that was absolutely huge for us. And you just saw how the rest of the team kind of feeds off his energy, especially in the fourth quarter. A couple of those threes he hit were just complete daggers. And like the other thing that was really awesome to see because the one thing he kind of struggles with is like as a lead ball handler, he that's really a job that's better suited for Harden. But towards the end of the game, when the Celtics were trying to make a push, basically the Celtics just went their defense was just all out, just stop Embiid, stop Harden. Like they were basically doubling both of them. And Maxey was like, okay, well, I'll just drive straight to the net for easy layups. And he did that two straight times. And you could just see that the Celtics were like, I don't even know what to do. Like we're trying to stop Embiid. He's dominating us. Harden dominates us 2 games this series, and now Maxey's going off against us. And like, I think they just kind of had a look of defeat on their face. And Maxey, credit to him for sticking into it. I mean, for him to play badly against the Celtics 4 games during the regular season and then 4 bad playoff games. He didn't give up. He didn't mope around. He just came out and was ready to go and completely dominated yesterday.
Yeah, and the beauty of this Sixers big three that they have, they were all on last night. They were all on their game, and when you have that, it's almost impossible for even a team like the Celtics, who are one of the best defensive teams in the league, to be able to stop them. I mean, when you got Embiid, he can even shoot 3-pointers at times. He had a couple big ones yesterday, and when you have 3 guys who can shoot we have more than 3 guys who can in our starting lineup that can shoot threes. But when you got Harden, you don't know what he's gonna do. He's gonna do his little dribble move, either step back or drive to the net. And when he drives to the net, you don't know what he's gonna do. Then he might pass out to a guy like Maxey or Embiid. Embiid might cut over the middle, and you might have Maxey sitting in the on the wing, ready to shoot an open three. It's just you don't know what this Sixers team is gonna do, and it's hard for a team like even like the Celtics, to stop them. So this is why we need Maxey to be on his game, because if he's not on his game, the Celtics can just double team Joel Embiid or James Harden and stop them, and then you only have maybe one guy instead of all 3 guys performing at a high level. So that's how big Maxey is for this team.
Yeah, and I love that Embiid put up 7 threes yesterday. He made 3 of them, which is good. He gets criticized a lot for taking threes. I've never understood that, because he's a good 3-point shooter, and what it does for the rest of the team, like Embiid's, and everyone's got to remember, like Embiid, like you can't win just with Embiid scoring. Like Embiid shooting 3-pointers and spacing the floor like that just makes life easier on Harden, makes it easier on Maxey, makes it easier on Tobias, who Tobias had his best game probably as a Sixer yesterday. Like he was awesome. Like I never see Tobias like be that energy guy, but right from the get-go, he's like jumping over people, getting rebounds. He almost was like a second PJ Tucker out there hitting threes. Like he played some of his normal bully ball. So I don't think the Sixers have ever had a game where Harden, Maxey, Embiid, and Tobias all have really good games all at the same time. And it's just, I kind of got a feeling with this team, they have a lot of confidence. I think that game 4 win where they almost blew it, but then kind of regrouped and gathered themselves and came back and won. I think that just gave them confidence that they can do this. And I don't think they're really afraid of Boston anymore. I think they're like, we got this team. We're gonna win this, and we're gonna go on to the next round. I think the Sixers kind of think they're the best team remaining, and they're playing like it.
Yeah, it's similar to kind of what the Lakers are doing over in the West. No, everyone kind of counted the Lakers out, but they're up 3-1 on the reigning Golden State Warriors. They were the reigning champs, and they're up 3-1 on them right now. It looks like the Lakers might be the best team coming out of the West, because the Suns are facing elimination against the Nuggets, and I don't think the Nuggets are that great of a playoff team. I think they're a bit overrated. I mean, they're still a good team, but I think the Lakers could beat the Nuggets in a best-of-7 series. But
I think yeah, and I've said this from the beginning. I think the Celtics and the Sixers are the best 2 teams remaining, and I think the winner of the series has a it doesn't guarantee a championship, but they got a leg up on everybody, and especially in the West, like the Nuggets are a really good team, but they're kind of suited to beat up on those West teams. I'm curious to see if they do meet the Lakers, like how they do with Anthony Davis, because like the Nuggets kind of struggle when they have like a really good defensive center they have to go against. Like there's not that many of them, but like against AD, against Embiid, like Nuggets kind of struggle because that just kind of takes them out of their offensive rhythm. So I'm kind of curious to see how that goes. I don't want to get ahead of this series. Still got a game to finish tomorrow, but it's interesting kind of thinking about some of those matchups.
Yeah, and if we can get past this series, we're looking at either a Heat team who right now they just lost to the Knicks, so they're going to a game 6,
yep.
or the Knicks team who is barely escaping the Heat, and the Knicks don't have that great of team chemistry. As you see lately, even Julius Randle is supposed to be their guy, their captain, was saying that the Heat want it more. Like they're
Yeah.
like it seems to me that the Knicks do not have the best team chemistry, and you need team chemistry in the playoffs. Like the Sixers, that's what they lacked in the past. They did not have that team chemistry enough to win the game. I think that's what they have now. They're firing on all cylinders, and they're working as a whole unit instead of individual players doing well. So I really like what I'm seeing out of the Sixers, and I really think if they can just beat Boston tomorrow night, then we'll be good for the rest of these. But we gotta. Well, I think we'll beat whoever we verse in the next round, and then goes on to the finals. But right now we got Game 6 to worry about. So what are your predictions on Game 6?
I think it's over. I think. Oh, I mean, I've heard it brought up a lot. Like, well, the Celtics were in this spot last year. The Bucks were at they against the Bucks. They were down. They were down 3-2 against the Bucks. Came back and won Game 6, and then blew them out in Game 7. And yeah, I think it's completely different this year. I think I think the way the Sixers kind of blew them out last night. It's different. Like the Sixers have kind of figured something out. I think the Celtics will make adjustments. I think the clear adjustment is more doubles towards Joel Embiid, but I think this team can I think the Sixers just around Embiid are good enough to handle that this year. But yeah, no, I think in terms of my prediction for tomorrow night, I think they're gonna because the Celtics are gonna go hard to try to stop Embiid. I think Embiid probably has a lower scoring game. Since another Maxey game incoming, I think the Celtics are like, look, we can't stop everybody, so we'll live with Maxey just beating us. I think Maxey has that confidence now where he's going to keep raining threes. I could see another big Harden game because, again, if they focus all their attention on Embiid, Harden's going to have those opportunities to score a lot of points. And really, I think the big thing is that our defense is just completely starting to lock them down. And like, the only way the Celtics win tomorrow is if they just shoot the lights out from beyond three, which they could do, but they haven't been able to do it this series. And like, I don't see any reason why it's going to start now. Like the type of defense they're trying to play, trying to wear Harden down by pressing him full court all the time. Like people got to remember, it's affects your shooting too. Like if you have to play these gimmicky defenses just to try to slow down the other offense, well, now you're tired when you're on offense. That means you're not getting the same lift when you're shooting and things like that. The other thing I hope for is I hope Jason Tatum keeps taking a lot of shots because he's not making anything right now. And Jaylen Brown's been great, and for some reason they just stopped going to Jaylen Brown. So if I was the Celtics, that would be my two adjustments would be send more doubles at Embiid and give Jaylen Brown the ball more than Tatum and see what we can do. But I think it's over. I think the Sixers win. I think they actually win pretty handily. I mean, it might be a close game, but I think we kind of pull away in the fourth and go with like 115 to 106 to win it and go to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, I think it's going to be ended at the Wells Fargo Center on Thursday as well. I'm really excited for this game. I think it's going to be a close one till the end. I think the Sixers will pull maybe like a 5-point game. I'll go like 117 to 112. I'll go with that score. But I'm really excited to see what they can do tomorrow. Who's going to have the big game? We're not going to see that big game. Joel Embiid's going to be great, but he's not going to have that monster 40-point game. Just because I feel like Boston's going to make a lot of adjustments, maybe double team him more. That opens it up for a guy like Maxey or Harden to have the big game. It's going to be one of them. If I had to choose, I'd probably choose Maxey because he wants to do it in front of this home crowd. He wants to have a big game in front of the Sixers crowd, and they're gonna show up tomorrow. It's going to be the loudest game of the series. It's going to be crazy, and I'm very excited to watch. I think they can do it. I think it's going to be a tough one, but we'll pass, and then we'll get some rest before the Eastern Conference Finals. And I'm just really excited. Sixers fans haven't been this close for a couple years now with the Hawks, which we sold that, and then against the Raptors with the Kawhi shot. And we haven't seen past the second round since 2001. So.
This team's different. This team's different, Chris.
So
I mean, they like you saw that comeback in Game 4 where you would have thought they'd collapse. Any other Sixers team in the world would have collapsed, except this team. And then for them to go into Boston last night and just dominate them from the opening tip. Like, again, not something a Sixers team would ever do. And I just think they've hit another level this year. I don't think anybody's really going to stop them. I don't think Boston's going to stop them. And the other thing too is Embiid's getting healthier. And
Yeah,
like
we haven't
every
seen
single
that
game,
in
he's
the
gotten
playoffs.
better. He took his brace off yesterday, and no coincidence, that was the best he's looked so far. And I think he's just going to keep getting better.
Yeah, Embiid's been excellent. Maxey's been excellent since that Game 5 performance. Harden's been great. And so we got a lot to look forward to the game for Game 5 tomorrow. So that's probably going to do it for this rundown. Matt, thank you again for joining me. I'm glad we didn't have any technical difficulties this time because that was pretty frustrating. But this was a good
It's all
video.
right. Happy to be here, Chris.
Yep, it was a good one. All right, so make sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment down below what you think about Game 6 and what you thought about Game 5. So let's see if we're going to win tomorrow. Put your score predictions, put anything in the comments. And that's going to do it for me and Matt, and I'll see you guys in the next rundown probably tomorrow. See you guys.